Hello and welcome to Garden Solutions. My name's Kharizma and I am your joy cultivator. Today I'm going to talk about cooking. And if you don't already know this about me, you should know I don't like to cook. And I had to find a way to find enjoyment in cooking, right? Because let's face it, we have to eat, and I love to eat, and I love a diverse palate, right? I like all kinds of different kinds of food. And I love a home cooked meal. I just didn't want to cook it myself. So for many years I struggled with this, and I had partners in my life that helped me and partners that didn't help me, some partners that hindered me. And now I have been married for almost 10 years, and my husband has Parkinson's. And so he cannot help much. And I had to find a way that I could cook for the two of us and not be pissed off every night when I made dinner. Okay, and so I tried a few different ways and discovered this way is the best way for me. And what it is I make 90 meals at once. Well, that's not true. I make a meal plan for 90 days, and about a third of those get pre-made and frozen all at once. And then the other 2/3 are either whole meals, like a whole chicken or a whole roast or a steak or something like that needs to be cooked fresh that day. Or it's just super easy to go ahead and do that day. A whole roast in a crock pot with some garlic. You don't really have to do much prep work for that. Or it's like super fresh, like a stir fry or something, that it's going to be all fresh veggies and barely seared meat. And then I don't want to freeze all those veggies. I want that really fresh palate. But for the 30 meals that I do make frozen, probably I only actually make 20 meals because I really try hard to have at least 2 meals out of every meal that I make, because I don't like to cook. So if I could reheat something in a day or two, that works for me. And it also works for my husband, because if I've had a long day and I'm tired and I have some leftovers in the refrigerator, he can easily hook us up, right? He can easily reheat those for us. So my goal today is just to share with you how I do a 20 meal freezer prep. And I've already prepared everything. So what I do is, first of all, you have to make the meal plan, right? So I get out the cookbooks, I pull out the Pinterest, and I make a decision about 90 meals. And then I make a grocery list according to those meals. Like, okay, I have 7 chicken meals. That translates to, like 14 pounds of chicken. Or, I need this many cuts of this kind of meat, or this many pounds of, or this many meals worth of broccoli, that kind of thing. And so I make my grocery list and I put hash marks next to each item so I have an idea of how much I need of everything. Then when I get home, I pre-cut all of my meat and have it all ready right away. And sometimes if I know it's going to be a few days before I get to the meal prep, then I'll go ahead and freeze those already cut, ready to go. And then that way I could just add it into the meal, which is what I did for the most part already. And then this morning I cut up a bunch of chicken and put it back in the freezer until I'm ready to use it. And then so on the day of the meal prep, I go ahead and pre-cut all of my veggies, and I open up all my jars, so I don't have icky hands and I'm touching all the jars for any kind of sauces and that kind of thing that I might make. And a couple of other things that I like to do is One, I always make a crock pot meal on that day because it typically takes me about 4.5 hours to prepare and make all the meals. And so at the end of the day, I don't want to have to cook dinner. So I start a crock pot meal right away in the morning, as I start preparing for my meal prep day. On meal prep day, I will also broil some chicken and sear some meat, sear some steak, so that especially like if I know I'm gonna make a stew, then I go ahead and bread the meat and sear it and let it cool so that it can be added into the whole meal and frozen later today. And then the other thing that I'll do is I'll make a batch of rice, just like 2-3 cups of rice, so that I know either it can be incorporated into the frozen meal, or it'll be a part of a meal or two, or a couple of meals through the week. And then today I'm also pre-cooking a whole spaghetti squash so that I can shred it out and freeze it and have it. I'll package it in meal portions so that on days when my husband eats a potato or he has some noodles, I have some spaghetti squash that I can eat instead. Because that's my preference. It works with my personal diet better. So that is kind of the beginning, right? Oh, and then the other thing that I do is I pre-make all of my labels for all the meals. And I'm going to show you that in just a second here. Okay, so I wanted to give you a visual. Here is my meal prep area. And I have got all of my veggies. I've got salt, veggies, the cans that I know I'm going to use. Again, my celery and my green onions are inside some water so they stay nice and fresh. I've got vegetables from the garden. Some things I've left whole because they're just quick and easy to cut. I don't need to, it doesn't take very much time, and I don't know how much I'm going to need. More veggies. All of my bottles are open so that I can just grab them and I'm not messing with them when my hands are sticky or whatever. And then I've got all of my herbs that I typically use, and then I've got funnels and measuring cups so that I'm ready for that if I need it. I've got 2 cutting boards. This one is used for meats, and then this one is used for veggies. And then my sink is empty and ready for any extras that I might end up having. So I'll start some rice in just a minute. I've got my crock pot going with a roast and veggies in there. I'm going to be making egg muffins, which is another quick and easy way that I can have breakfast ready for me in the morning without actually cooking anything. And then I have my spaghetti squash in here ready to go. And then I also have my handy dandy blender thing with a couple of extra cups so that if I'm blending up anything, I don't have to wash in between stuff. I could just get it done. I leave my pantry door open so that I can easily just get in and out of there and see what I have in case I haven't pulled it out yet and I don't want to be messing with it too much. I could just get in there and grab it right away. I've got my meats already cut up so that I can just get in there and grab however many cups or pounds that I need. I pre-cut everything because it's easier. I'm going to have to cut it anyways. My husband does have Parkinson's, so I pre-cut all of his meals anyway, so I'd rather just do it ahead of time and I don't have to mess with it later. So here's my 90-day meal plan. Here are the books that I'm using this time. My coffee cup. These are the 3 cookbooks that I'm using this time. I have made labels, and also sometimes I'll use Ziploc bags, depending on what exactly I'm going to make. And of course, I'm a gardener, so I have pruners sitting everywhere. And then on these meal preps, so try to get a good one. So I have the name of the meal, right? Herb lemon pork loin. I'm going to add lemon slices on top and squeeze the lemon before I'll do that fresh. So everything will be in the container except for the lemon. This part says paleo. It just lets me know it's out of the paleo slow cookbook. And this gives it a suggestion on a salad or steamed vegetables, depending on what kind of fresh element that I want to add. It tells me the date that I prepped the meal and how long I need to cook it. So it says slow cook. I know this is a crock pot meal. But I also have, like this meal says rotisserie. And how long I need to cook it and at what temperature. And that just lets me know exactly what I need to do. All right. I'm done, except for cleanup. So now, let's see. It took a little longer than I thought it was going to, about 2.5 hours after I prepped everything. So for a 90-day, I did make 25 meals. So I guess it looks like more like 4.5, 5 hours maybe. But it's exciting because now I have the rest of the year ready to go. So here's my freezer. It's all ready. I've got some whole chickens and stuff ready still down here, but everything else is all prepped. My sauces are all made, and now I don't have to worry about what's going to be for dinner for, the rest of 2019, and I could just focus on the fun stuff. And obviously I do other grocery shopping in between times. We get fresh vegetables, and my husband's a cereal hound, so we're always getting cereal milk. But for the most part, for dinner meals and most lunches and breakfasts, everything's like ready to go. So whew. It's amazing when you do it this way, because it does feel like a whole lot to spend, all the time looking for recipes, making the grocery list, going grocery shopping, prepping the food, and then making all the meals and putting them all away and labeling them and all of that kind of stuff. And it does, I guess if you added all of it, every single thing up, you're looking at somewhere between 7 to 9 hours. But if you average 2 hours a night thinking about prepping, making, cleaning up nightly meals, you're saving well over 100 hours in 3 months by doing it this way, doing this technique of 90-day meals. So to me, it's totally worth it, because there's so many more things that I'd rather spend my time doing and filling my life with joy in other ways than cooking. So hats off to the chefs out there. But if you're like me and you just want something simple and easy that you can still incorporate joy into your life when you're in the kitchen, hey, I think this works. So let me know what you think. Give me any extra tips and, hints. If you see anything that I missed, for sure, put it in the comments below, or just reach out, direct message me. If you have any questions or anything like that, I'd be happy to answer them. Until the next time, sparkle on!